I'm Tim and welcome back to the Decent Garage. In today's video, we're on the OG crew cab and we're going to try and figure out why I only hit 342 horsepower at our first dyno event. So if you're new to the channel, we are trying to hit 600 horsepower on this truck. It is a 12 valve Cummins with a VE injection pump, which is pretty difficult to do. My suspicion is we have a boost leak, but today we're going to find out, and we're also going to install a couple more parts that came in. In the previous videos in this series, we installed a new Borg-Warner S362 turbo, a steed speed manifold, head studs, valve springs, 6x13 injectors. We have upgraded intercooler piping. A few months ago, we also installed a 6-speed G56 manual transmission with a dual disc clutch. So we've done a lot to this truck, and I'm hoping that we can hit 400 horsepower with what we've done on it. Most of the parts that I've installed on this are from the Hungry Diesel, and it's their Power Package Level 3 kit. So we have a ton to get done in today's video, but by the end of the video, we should be utilizing all the power from all these parts that we've installed. Now, saying that, we're not going to do a dyno run in today's video. I need your guys' help. I need to find a local dyno somewhere in Utah that runs diesel trucks. I'm willing to pay, but I'd like to find something somewhere in the state of Utah so that I can access it, take it there whenever we need to test this out and see how our performance upgrades are going. So if you know of any, tag me on Instagram, email me, reach out to me on Facebook, something. Get me connected with those folks so we can get this thing tested more often. Being that our boost peaked at 29 PSI on the dyno, the first thing I'm going to do is a boost leak test. I'm hoping this is the issue, but who knows? If this is the issue, it's probably going to be an easy fix. Alright, we got our air hooked up. I've got a pressure regulator right here, so I'm going to open up the valve and see what we get. There's 15, 20. Yeah, it's not getting past about 25. And I can hear a leak. I'm going to go down all the intercooler tubes and all the boots. Nothing so far. Nothing there. Oh geez. Well guys, I found the leak. Let me show you. There's the intake horn. That's bad, that's leaking bad. So I'm gonna cut the air off. We're gonna tighten those down and see what happens. Oh man, the bolts for the intake horn are hand tight, if that. So I must not have tightened down the intake horn, and that's where our boost leak is. Yeah, these bolts just aren't even tight at all. Well, hopefully this is the issue because it's an easy fix, but I feel kind of like an idiot for, I mean, who knows what we would have run on the dyno if this was tightened down. Alright, let's open up our valve and see what we get. Okay, so this isn't leaking now, and I found a pretty bad leak down here at this intercooler pipe. We're hitting 45 PSI now on the boost leak tester. I'm gonna get the boost leak tester off. We're gonna put our intake pipe back in. Let's go take it for a drive. I'm super excited to see how this drives because, I mean, it was hitting 45 PSI on the tester with the valve, so I'm hoping we get what we want out of it. All right guys, we're about to do our run. One thing before we do that, if anyone in Utah has R12 refrigerant, I need some. The ACs needs recharged in this. So I've got the windows down. I'm gonna get up to 5th gear and then we're gonna do a wide open throttle 5th gear pull. So you can see it's still pretty smoky down low. Holy cow, yeah. Okay, 4th gear. Spooling a lot better. Okay, here we go, 5th gear pull. Woo-wee! Oh man. All right, we are good to go. It hit 42 PSI. That was awesome. So we hit 42 PSI, it screamed, it's still quite smoky down low. So this video's not over. We got a couple more things we're gonna do. Let me take you back to the garage and I'll explain what we're gonna do. You don't wanna miss it. All right guys, that was awesome. So I didn't give you numbers, but I looked down and my TAC was maxed out. So we were over 3K. My speedometer was at 80 and that was in 5th gear. It ripped, it was insane. But we gotta do a couple more things in this video. First, I don't know what the EGTs were like. So I got the new probe that I need to put into the steed speed manifold. We're gonna install that. Then you guys saw how dirty it was in the low RPM. I'm gonna show you guys a trick to get rid of some of that. Hopefully it works. It should at least clean it up a little bit. I'm hoping it cleans it all up. And then last, we are going to install the dynamic timing spacer as well. So we're gonna install a ton of parts still in this video, and we're gonna do a rip after everything we install to compare numbers. So hang tight, let's get to it. So before I show you the modification to the injection pump that we're gonna do to clear up some of that pre-boost fuel, I'm going to install my new EGT probe that I ordered from Ispro that should fit the steed speed manifold without any issues. All right, we got the new EGT probe installed, so now we'll be able to tell what our EGTs are at on our next run. So let me show you the modification that not many people know about, but it's really not that revolutionary, but I'll show you how to do it, and this is to help with that pre-boost fuel. So smoking, rolling coal, I don't like doing that, so we're gonna try and fix that. So the first thing we need to do, we need to take the AFC top off. Now that we've got the 6-speed, we have no use for this TPS at this time, so I'm gonna actually leave this off. All right, there is our pump top. So let me show you what we need to do. So here's the pump top. This is something that a lot of people with VE pumps recognize. This is the smoke screw, or the pre-boost fuel screw. Now you notice that my pre-boost fuel screw, or my smoke screw, is backed way out, and that's how I like it. But here's the issue. In this cap, there's this ridge right here, so the diaphragm can't move up as far as I would like it to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna Dremel this lip, or this ridge, down so the diaphragm can raise up more, and that will help the pre-boost fuel not be so much, hence less smoke. So let's do that. All right, I've got a diamond bit on here to grind it with. I've got my safety glasses on for all you folks. So let's go ahead and do this. So this would be way easier with a lathe, but here at the Decent Garage, we just make do with what we have. And I have a Dremel. It's taken a long time, but I'm gonna get it done. All right, Not perfect, but pretty good. You can see I got some nicks up in here, but that's fine. It's not going to affect anything. I may at some point see if I can find someone with a lathe to smooth it a little bit, but it's pretty dang good. So let's go get this installed back on the AFC. We'll take it for a rip, see if it helps with that pre-boost fuel. We'll also check our EGTs. Then we're going to come back and we're going to install the dynamic timing spacer, and we're going to take another rip after that. All right, we're to our spot. I can already say the pre-boost fuel is much better, but I'll let you guys see. So I'm gonna take off from second and just go up, get up to fifth gear, and then I'm gonna do a wide open throttle fifth gear pull, and I'm gonna try and get you guys a view of the gauges if I can manage that. So let's try it. Also, it is 104 degrees today. It is blazing hot. I need R12. If you have some in Utah, if you have some out of state, get in contact with me. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for shipping, whatever. I need some R12. Well, let's go. So you can see how much the pre-boost smoke is cleaned up. It's just a little bit, but then it clears right up. All right. There we go. So the EGT's hit just about 1200, which is pretty good. I gotta be honest, I didn't even get to a full wide open throttle. It just pulls hard and screams. So hey, there's my wife. So anyways, let's go back and let's do the dynamic timing spacer. I would say shaving that AFC top was a success as well. All right guys, that is so fun to drive. I'm burning a lot of fuel, hence spending a lot of money, but we have one more thing we need to install. This is the dynamic timing spacer. So let's get this installed and take it for one last rip and see how it performs. So the dynamic timing spacer goes right where the KSB is mounted. The KSB's purpose is to advance the timing, A, when the engine is cold, and B, when you get into higher RPMs. So what this spacer does is it spaces it out from the pump a little bit. There's a plunger in there. It gives it more room to articulate, which gives it more timing when you get into the high RPMs. So I'm going to pull the KSB off. There's a fuel line that goes to it. There's an electrical connector that goes to it. And the two bolts that mount it to the pump, I believe, are T30 Torx. Well, I've got the two mounting bolts loose, but I'm having trouble getting the fuel line disconnected. The nut's trying to strip on me, so worst case scenario, I'll just unbolt it and kind of swing it out of the way and install the spacer. That'll be hard for you guys because you won't be able to see much. But the Mad Mailer on YouTube, he has a great video installing this, pulling it out, showing you exactly what it does. So I'll link that video in the description and above right now for you to check out in case I have to do that. Alright, so I got the mounting bolts out. I can't get that fuel line off, and I don't want to strip it, and I don't want to twist the line and break it. That's just going to be a pain in the butt. So I'm going to install the spacer without even pulling the KSB all the way off. Where the KSB mounts, there is an O-ring, so they provide you with a fresh new O-ring. So that's going to go in. We're going to have the spacer that also has an O-ring in it. So basically we're gapping the KSB out from the pump just a little bit. Also, there are some shims in there for the spring that actuates the plunger. They do provide one extra shim, so I'm going to throw that in there. That can go right in the KSB, and then it should just button back up. I'll see if I can get you guys a good angle of this. Alright, so we got the dynamic timing spacer installed. Honestly, in my opinion, it was pretty easy to install it without undoing that fuel line. If I were to do it again, that's probably what I would do. I just slid the spacer in there, put the new bolts in, and she is good to go. So guess what? We have one more test drive to do. I think for this one, I'm gonna go hat backwards because I think this is going to be an amazing drive. And I think after this, we're gonna call the truck ready for the dyno again. All right guys, we're at our spot, let's hit it. We're gonna start in second. Go from there, here we go. There's third. There's fourth. All right, here's fifth, here we go. It's safe to say that the OG Crew Cab is ready for its next run on the dyno. I'm super excited to see what the number is. It's gotta be over 400 horsepower, but knock on wood, I don't know. That's what we were hoping for last time. So again, if you know anyone in Utah with a dyno, let me know, hook me up. I need help, I need something local so we can get this put on the dyno sooner than waiting for an event in September. So let me know. You can comment below, you can reach out to my socials, which are in the description. Thanks for your support, and we will see you guys in the next video.